What I just showed you in that first clip is a technique to clear red buff at level 1 with the highest HP possible without sacrificing speed, using potions, or using smite. The reason this is important is so that you can use Lee Sin's fantastic early game to full advantage before he falls off. In the background right now, I'm showing you a suboptimal example of how Lee Sin might clear red without the technique I'm about to show you. Red buff usually lands 9 basic attacks on you, leaving you with 486 HP, which is only 76% of your total health. However, with the technique, I end up with 546 HP, which is a whole 60 HP difference, leaving me at a total of 86% health. 60 HP is a lot in the early game. How do I do this? Well, the short answer is that I take one less basic attack from red buff, so it only hits me 8 times instead of 9. This technique barely relies on kiting, and is much more to do with how you utilize Lee Sin's W and passive. What you want to do is cast Lee Sin's W as soon as possible after your basic attack lands. Every time Lee Sin casts an ability, he gets increased attack speed for his next 2 basic attacks. Attack speed does a few things. It lowers the cooldown before your next basic attack, it lowers the cast time of your next attack, and it makes the backswing of your attack faster, so it's easier to efficiently animation cancel it after the damage has gone through. Why is such a micro efficiency important? It allows us to get 6 basic attacks onto red buff in 1 W cooldown, while red buff only lands 3 on you in return. If you don't get it right, it can land 4 basic attacks on you in that time frame. Let's go over the specifics of how to do this. In this clip, I barely even kite, so this is even effective when getting a leash from your teammates who refuse to kite backwards and force you to face tank. Basic attack once, then immediately cast W after it lands, shielding the damage from red. Basic attack twice, W again, basic attack 3 times, then immediately animation cancel your backswing with a movement command directly away from red buff. This is a total of 6 basic attacks, and if you're fast enough, red will only land 3 attacks on you instead of 4. Then you wait for your W to come off cooldown, and repeat. The second rotation is much harder and more strict, since red buff is already aggroed so it can attack you sooner, so make sure you're casting your W or inputting your movement commands as soon as possible after your attack lands. Enabling damage numbers can really help with this. The reason this works is because you basic attack once before casting W, and then immediately increase your attack speed after it lands. That makes it kind of like a pseudo basic attack reset, sort of giving you 5 increased attack speed hits instead of just 4. Finally, let's watch the very first clip again, where I combine this technique with kiting in order to drag red buff towards my desired location, whether that's a mid-gank, an evade, or perhaps towards blue buff to keep clearing. Watch how I kite red buff in straight lines rather than around a corner. You want to do this because red buff has a long attack range, so he'll hit you sooner if you try and run around the corner rather than directly away. As far as waiting on your W cooldown, I'm running Cosmic Insight and Legend Alacrity to speed up this process a bit, but you don't have to do this if you're okay with losing a tiny bit of time. If you're confident, you can actually basic attack right before your W comes off cooldown, and then cast W just in time, but this is risky and requires a lot of practice. If you master this though, you can shave off about 1 second, clearing red buff in 19 seconds instead of 20. Anyway, thank you to my patrons Tajirian and Javan, who participated in my Patreon exclusive poll and voted for Lee Sin to be my next Clear Frontier video. If you'd like to have a say in what my next videos will be, and other rewards coming in the future like one-on-one coaching, visit me at patreon.com/bequipped. Again, thank you so much to both Tajirian and Javan for supporting me. More Lee Sin videos, as well as a video on kiting jungle monsters, coming soon.